Happy Wednesday. Happy Mind Your Wednesday. So, I want to kind of chat with you a bit about something that happened to me this week or a couple of weeks ago and just kind of how I responded. But first, let me tell you what I realized some time ago when my nephews were little, when they were babies, even my cousins, when they were little, and they would fall or do something, it would kind of just scare them. They weren't really hurt, but most of the time they would respond based off of how we responded. So if they failed or just kind of misstepped or something, and we was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself?" And they're okay until we get frantic. "Are you all right? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And then they think something should be wrong and they just break out crying. But then the times when you know they are all right and you just respond with, "You're all right, get up, you're okay." And they're like, "Okay." And they move on. So it leads me to think that most times or a lot of times we can respond in out of emotion based off of somebody else's response to what happened to us or something that's happening to us, right? So maybe almost a couple of weeks ago, I got a call that my job position had been eliminated. And I'm on the phone, really wasn't sure. I knew who it was calling. I wasn't sure what she wanted. So she's telling me, the process and what the situation is and what to expect and all of these things. And all I'm saying is, okay, okay. She's like, "You have any questions?" And I may have had a couple of questions that I asked her. And she answered, and I said, "All right." And she said, "Well, expect the email, yada, yada." We kind of move on. So in that moment, I'm not really feeling one way or another, just thinking, okay, I'm going to process this. So for a couple of days, I didn't mention it to anybody on purpose, simply because I had to figure out for me what my emotion, my feelings, my thought about the situation was. So I wouldn't do like we would do to the babies when they would fall. "Are you okay? Are you all right? What are you going to do? How you?" So I had to be aware enough so I wouldn't allow somebody else's emotions to be imposed on my situation, if that makes sense. So even when I did tell people just for informational purposes, and I spoke that and I said that, I said, "I'm telling you this just so you're aware of what my situation is now, based off of what it's been over the last several months, but I don't want to talk about it." And I told, several people, this is what it is, and I don't want to talk about it. Okay? And thankfully they were respectful of that because I didn't want you get the, all of that. So I set it up because I knew I'm still, processing. This is a major thing, in life, in my life. But I wanted to be sure that I kept my emotion and my thoughts genuine to what I was actually feeling and thinking and processing at the time. And two, I didn't want to start having conversation or speaking about it in a negative way and make it worse, right? So I go a couple of days ago to, clean out my office and get all of my stuff. Now I did have a little teary moment because I hadn't been in the office in quite some time. So it was a little emotional when I got there just because it was different and I hadn't been there in a while. So I packed all the stuff. I got it all in the car and I'm driving home. And for some reason, I'm thinking like I needed to emote, but it was like, it wasn't nothing coming. Right? So even though I'd separated conversation or having certain conversations, I'm still in my mind thinking, okay, Tracy, you're supposed to be having some kind of really over the top breakdown, emotional moment. And I tried to force it almost. But I was like, what are you doing? If that's not what you're feeling, that's not what you're feeling. So don't take on something just because you probably think or people would normally respond a certain way to get information like that. So even in situations or times in your life, think about honestly how you feel about it. I know it's easy to go to your friends, go to your loved ones, and you get all these opinions and people in your ear, and then you realize you really don't know how you feel about it because you've been talking so much about it that you didn't sit with it to see how you felt about the situation. So think about, especially in these times, last year was kind of crazy, and we coming around this first quarter looking a little side eye too, but don't force an emotion on a situation just because of one, somebody else's response to it, or two, because you're trying to make up something that doesn't even exist, and now you're going through something that you imposed on yourself that wasn't even what it was. So don't do that to yourself. And just be mindful of when you're having any emotions and thinking about, why am I feeling this way? Now, is this truly emotion? Because we do truly have emotions about situations. So, but no, it's your emotion, it's your response. It's not one that you imposed because you thought you were supposed to act a certain way, or because someone else responded a certain way to your situation. So be mindful of these things, and how you're feeling and how you're thinking in situations, and know that it's just not a automatic, oh, I'm supposed to feel this way because this was a thing that happened. And it's not always that way. Try to find the silver lining in any situation. Try to keep your thoughts positive, keep your mind positive, and focused on what is to come. Because I've realized in life, as I've progressed and grown, at the end of the day, if I just flipped out, fell out, cried for 2, 3 days, and even if I did all of that, at the end of that, situation would still be the same. It wouldn't change anything. So I choose to conserve that energy and put it toward what's next and what is to come. So think about where you're emoting, why you're emoting, and where that's coming from when these situations arise in your life, because they're going to come. Life is going to happen. The only thing you have control over is how you choose to respond. So I hope that gives you guys something to think about or something to ponder. And as I always say, if nobody's told you that they love you today, guess what? I love you. I love you. I love you. Guys, be a great day.